Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's live channeling. I woke up excited for this channeling today. Super excited because Smoky Elestial, which is here, you guys can get a nice look at it there, which is what I'm channeling from today, is absolutely one of my favorite crystals. So for those of you who are joining, if you have a piece of Smoky Elestial, by all means, you can hold it as you tune into this channeling with me. If you don't have the crystal that I'm channeling from, by the way, on a weekly basis, you can always sit holding a quartz crystal to still powerfully tune you into the energy of the channeling and the intention of the channeling. So know that you always have that option. Smoky Elestials are one of my absolute favorite crystals. I remember years ago, how many years ago was it now? I don't even know, like 15 years ago, whatever it was. I was teaching, or not teaching, but I was working at this spiritual bookshop in New York City called East West Books. That's what it was called. Some of you may or may not remember that if you were from New York City at that time. And I remember a customer coming in, and he had this beautiful piece of Smoky Elestial, and he passed it to me to hold, and it was the first time I had met that crystal. So I guess it was almost, 16, 17 years ago. It was the first time I had met Smoky Elestial, and I held it and I just started to cry. It so deeply touched, and I really feel transformed me in that moment somehow, and really kind of opened my eyes even further to the depth and the power and the majesty of crystals. So this is one of my absolute favorites. And just before I begin with the channeling, I also wanted to let those of you know who are interested in my Pro Crystal Healer program that scholarships have been now made available, and there's already been a great response to that. So if that catches your interest, definitely click the link in my profile. There are a limited number, but I am seeking to make the program as accessible as possible to the healers for whom it's called to their souls. So check that out, and here we go. And again, like in all crystals in the quartz family, there's an immediate influx of energy, an immediate wash. And Smoky Elestial is very interesting because it's extremely high frequency. I'm already feeling it. For those of you who are clairvoyant, you can probably see the pranic activation that this crystal has created. Powerful crystals do that, or if you're really in tune to crystals, or if you already had your pranic channels activated, that just happens. Just everything. It's like the electricity, the energy in your whole system just switches on and becomes wired and becomes very powerful. But what was interesting is, even as I felt this hit of this wash of energy just sort of all over my system, I felt it go up the column of my chakras from the root all the way up to the crown, because Smoky Elestial is, it lives up to its name in terms of connecting to higher realms, and we'll see where we're going to go with that possibly in a minute. But it's also very grounding, and it grounds light in the body. Like, I'm already feeling chills in my legs and my arms, as I'm feeling this energy, come into my system, because of course this is also amplified in service to all of you who are joining now or in the future now when you watch the recording. And one of the things it does is it powerfully grounds light energy in the body, in the system. We're talking about vital force, source energy, high frequency energy. This is what activates evolution, enlightenment, awakening, expansion of consciousness, activation of psychic abilities. All of that more that each and every single one of us human beings has. It's like we're born with this big satchel or bag of more. And it's a matter of digging into that, digging beyond, the regular, just sort of everyday to-do list, washing the dishes, and so on. Not to downplay that stuff, because that stuff is also important. It's also energy clearing, our physical reality and part of our lives, and serves its own purpose. But sometimes, or oftentimes, we get so caught in that we forget that we're divine beings, and certainly Smoky Elestial is a reminder of that. And I literally almost feel like I'm being lifted out of my body right now, and I'm definitely seeing like a light realm in front of me, and I'm seeing some kind, it looks like it's definitely some kind of angelic being, who just sort of kind of came into view. It was sort of like a hazy focus, kind of a misty view. And it's interesting because initially, whenever I see angelic or see angelic beings or frequencies, I always see things as energy. First, I see things as lines of energy. So if any of you have ever watched The Matrix, how he saw, everything kind of like numbers, lines. I don't see numbers, I see lines. I see lines of energy, kind of more relating to that analogy of tapestry, and everything's a thread that's been woven into the tapestry or the web of life. And so I see that first, but then it will take on symbolism that human beings have assigned to it, or that they resonate with, so that we can identify. And so that was just a really beautiful moment. And also what I'm saying is it's part of a teaching, because for those of you who are seeking to connect with higher frequency beings, whether they're angelic, whether they're ascended master, whether they're deities, because these are all different aspects, frequencies of God's source, great spirit, whatever, whatever you've espoused in terms of your belief. But that they can appear to us in different ways, to not be locked into, this is what's coming through, a singular version or interpretation of what connection to spirit, experience of spirit might be, because we're all wired so differently. And to really embrace that, to learn to recognize it, embrace it, and embody it, because these are your divine gifts. So some of you may see sparks, some of you may see orbs, some of you may see lines of energy or threads in the tapestry. Ooh, massive chills. Some of you may see, angelic presence, or see, just even sort of a haze or a mist that's got kind of a color or a lightness to it that seems etheric. You may hear things. You may receive messages. For those of you who wake up in the morning with a song in your head, really pay attention to the line that keeps repeating. It's guidance for you. So again, there's this idea of activation and coming up out of, whoa, I just got like a major something energetically just happened right there. I just feel like I'm firing on all pistons. I'm probably talking crazy fast. My eyes are going weird. But there's this message of, this activation that's happening and lifting up out of our physical experience, up out of our physical fears, really seeking to connect with spirit more again in clean lines. I'm seeing clean portals, clean vessels, clean lines of energy, not just trusting whatever you bump into on the astral plane, because that's like walking into a bar. There's all kinds of beings and creatures up there, but really engaging in that process of lifting up out of your body, out of your spirit, out of your regular realm of energy, frequency, experience, so that you can connect more to God's source, divine source, spirit source. But then the majesty, these are the words, the majesty of being able to ground back into your body and to take those experiences and lessons with you. Because it's so imperative that as people, we evolve, and we all have different interpretations and value systems and beliefs in terms of what that means. lessons, and they're all true, and they're all right, and they're all glorious, and they're all part, again, of this gorgeous tapestry that I'm seeing. And so a message, my attention's being called to the Smoky Elestial. A message from Smoky Elestial is that we can be it all. We can be spiritual beings. We can have this connection. We can have this opening to great source and embodiment and more and growth and whatever, and still be able to distill and ground that in our physical beings, in our physical presence, in our physical experience, so that those teachings can have a rippling effect through our whole lives. And then also there's this word, I'm getting massive chills. There's also this words of transverse of karma. I don't think transverse is quite what's meant, but also reversal, but the shifting of karma, this idea of karma and karmic lessons and karmic experiences, and we tend to identify those as difficult times, struggling times, times where we're being taught lessons. But again, this message of it's a divine opportunity to shift and reverse karma by learning the lessons we need to do in order to evolve. And this is something that Smoky Elestial is a great teacher, and these are teachers. Crystals are formed of consciousness. They are great teachers, but this is a teaching from Smoky Elestial in terms of being able to ground the guidance you need to see the lesson, to embody the lesson, to learn the lesson, and be able to shake off, the karma, the negativity, the whatever that's been pulling you down and dragging you back. So this is a really powerful teacher for those of you who feel like you've been in patterns, you've been in cycles, there are lessons you need to learn or things you need to learn and heal so that you can move forward. This is a great teacher, and it's telling me the most potent way to work with Smoky Elestial is actually to hold it as I am in your non-dominant hand, so your receptive hand, to hold it and sit with it for a while. You don't need to experience, fireworks or what I'm experiencing, but trust in the lessons that are coming, whether it's in meditation, whether it's in your journal, whether it starts to show up in your daily life. Maybe you're sitting and you're starting to work consistently with Smoky Elestial, and all of a sudden one day, 5 people say to you something similar, and you're like, oh, this is the lesson. This is what my soul's calling in. This is what spirit's calling in. This is the message. This is the guidance. So it's not so much that we're seeking it out, because it's kind of like, today I'm only going to see green cars. That's all you're going to see. It's about being in an open and receptive state and trusting that the lessons will begin to show themselves, because they will. And then the final message as we start to come out of this channeling is that angels will speak to you through other people, through animals, through birds, through nature. So to be open and receptive to the lessons and the messages, and trust that as you engage in this process and walk this path, oh, this is beautiful. Your majesty opens up to you in front of you like a book for you to read and for you to learn from. And this final thing, just as I'm coming out, is that you are all majestic, magical, beautiful beings. And to remember that in the face of any adversity, in the face of any fear, to really embody and ground in that, and to keep seeking out the light and the light sources through consciousness and through crystals. So, that's the message. I love it when they end with just a beautiful touching teaching that we can take with us as we go. I think that's so lovely and nice. So now that I've got mascara streaming down my face and I'm looking like Alice Cooper, I'm gonna sign off. So that's the channeling today. I hope that was of service to you, and I will see you same time, same place next week with another crystal. So thank you, everyone, and blessings to you.